So let's talk about English. But not just any English. We're diving into a special version of the language, one that was literally engineered to stop catastrophic mistakes from happening. And we're talking about some of the most high-stakes industries on the entire planet.
I know, that sounds a little dramatic, right? But just think about it for a second. Could a single word actually cause a disaster? Imagine a maintenance instruction for a passenger jet, one that could be read in two totally different ways. That right there, that's the core problem we're getting into today. Ambiguity.
Okay, check this out. This shows you just how dangerous a simple word can be. The instruction says, replace the old part. So, does that mean you put the old part back where it was, or does it mean you go get a brand new one and install it? In day-to-day English, it could honestly mean both. But when you're talking about a jet engine, yeah, that difference is absolutely critical.
All right, so this brings us to our first section. And let's be clear, this isn't just some boring grammar lesson. We're looking at the very real danger of a single word.
See, in these high-stakes fields like aviation, there's just no room for about right. You can't have a technician staring at a super complex manual and just shrugging, yeah, that looks about right. Nope. It has to be exactly right, every single time. The margin for error is 0.
So, the big question is, how do you fix a problem that's literally baked into the way we speak? Well, it turns out you engineer a whole new way of speaking. This is a language built for safety.
You know, this idea of controlling language to make it clearer isn't really new. It actually goes way back to the 1930s with something called Basic English. Then, in the 70s, the Plain English movement came along. But things got really serious in the 1980s. That's when the aerospace industry decided to create a formal standard for their maintenance manuals. And that's what eventually evolved into what we have today.
And that brings us to the star of the show, Simplified Technical English, or STE for short. It's a controlled language built from the ground up to make technical documents totally unambiguous, consistent, and way easier for a global audience to understand.
So how does this thing actually work? Well, STE is built on two main pillars. First up is the dictionary. It's a super limited vocabulary, only about 930 approved words for general use. And second, there are the rules, a set of 57 really strict rules for grammar and sentence structure. So you see, it's not just a word list, it's a whole system.
Now, these rules, this is where the magic really happens. We're diving into the rules of absolute clarity. These are designed to just systematically strip away all the fuzzy, confusing parts of standard English. Let's take a look.
Okay, let's take a core rule. Always use the active voice. So, instead of saying something passive like, the circuits are connected by a switching relay, Steve forces you to say, a switching relay connects the circuits. It seems like a small change, right? But it makes it perfectly clear who or what is doing the action. Zero confusion.
Here's another great one. There's a rule that keeps sentences short and to the point. The original instruction here is 25 words long, and it kind of rambles on. The STE version? It chops out the fluff, like the word approximately, and gets straight to the point. It's way punchier and easier to understand, and you don't lose any of the crucial info.
And that ST dictionary, it's incredibly powerful. It makes you get rid of vague, fancy-sounding words and swap them for simple, direct ones. So you don't utilize something, you use it. You don't determine a problem, you find it. Every single one of these choices helps kill a potential misunderstanding before it even starts.
Okay, so you might be thinking, got it. Just use the approved words, follow the rules, and we're good to go. But it's actually not that simple. This is where we get into something deeper. It's about more than just words. A lot of people fall for something called the bag of parts fallacy. Basically, they treat STE like it's just a checklist. They think, hey, if all my words are from the approved dictionary, then my sentence must be clear. And that is a massive mistake.
And this slide, right here, this is the crucial point. Take the sentence, the cap is close. A simple software checker would look at the word close, see that it's an approved verb in the dictionary, and give it a thumbs up. But the meaning is totally wrong. The writer wanted to use close as an adjective to describe the state of the cap. A trained human expert knows the context and knows the only correct, crystal clear way to say it is, the cap is closed.
This gets at a really cool idea called the gestalt of clarity. It's basically the old saying that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. See, ST isn't just a dictionary you pick words from. It's a complete linguistic methodology.
The whole sentence, with its structure and rules, creates a clear meaning that the individual word parts just can't create on their own.
And this quote just nails it. A parts-based view only verifies that the words are correct, not that the meaning is compliant. A word check just isn't enough. It tells you nothing about whether the actual meaning is right.
And that's exactly why this whole process can't be fully automated. You absolutely need a human expert, a trained technical writer who gets the context, who can apply the whole methodology, and who can build that perfectly clear whole sentence.
So let's talk about why this matters beyond just safety. I mean, what's the big deal? Well, it turns out this level of clarity has huge real-world value. The future, my friends, is unambiguous.
Well, for starters, money. By getting rid of redundant words and making everything consistent, STE cuts down the total word count in technical manuals by about 25% on average, and that translates directly into massive savings on things like translation and publishing.
So you see, when you embrace the entire methodology, that whole we were talking about, the benefits really start to stack up. You get safer operations, legally rock-solid instructions, and of course, lower costs. But there's one more huge benefit that's becoming more and more important in the world we live in today.
And that, of course, is artificial intelligence. Think about it. AI systems, especially the big language models we hear so much about, they thrive on clean, structured, unambiguous data. That's how they work reliably. And STE, well, it provides exactly that. It's the ultimate example of clean data in, smart AI out. If you feed an AI a bunch of ambiguous garbage, you're going to get unreliable garbage back. But if you feed it STE, you get a powerful, accurate system you can actually trust.
So, I'll leave you with this final thought. When clarity is this valuable, what are we really losing in ambiguity? We've seen how STE creates incredible value in safety, in cost savings, and in technology, all by wiping out confusion. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? In all the other parts of our work, and even our lives, what's the hidden cost we're paying for not being perfectly clear?